the first two questions together. And actually, you have answered your first question with what the answer of the second question is. The spread of Islam. You see, Islam, as you put it, has spread like wildfire. Now, people do not enter into a religion and remain adherents to that religion, yes, for centuries if they were forced. It has to be out of conviction. It has to be done out of their own will and volition. And so very quickly, because what you have asked requires a lengthy response and time which we don't have this morning, and that is, how is it that Islam entered populations? A handful of people entered into regions that were dominated by one or two religions that are not Islam, and then within the space of a few years, these people en masse become Muslim without a sword unsheathed, without an offensive word, without force or anything. And that is two main things, and one which we will be delivering and teaching this prophetic method of da'wah, inshallah, at the training session in Abuja tomorrow. And do we have two sessions next week in Lagos?
Yes.
Yes, two sessions over here in Lagos next week. And to summarize it for you very quickly, inshallah, you can come and cover the event in more detail. Yes. The Prophet, peace be upon him, did two things. He gave people good character. I'm summarizing here. He gave people akhlaq, character, sublime character, and he gave people service, khidmah. Yes? These two are what win people's trust and hearts. And that is how Sahaba, Tabi'een, Tabi'een, all awliya, all salihin, whenever they went to a region, the people became Muslim. So, mashallah, Sheikh Mustafa studied in Pakistan for 8 years. Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, the Indian subcontinent, yes, was a non-Muslim region. And a handful, sometimes one person, like Nizamuddin Awliya, if you have heard, they would settle in a region and hundreds of thousands of people became Muslim. Millions, and never changed their faith again. Because they did two very important things. Yes? Exactly mirroring the prophetic method of da'wah. And that is, when they settled among the people, they did not talk about religion. And I repeat, Sayyidina Zakaria Multani Suhwati, he is a great saint who sent his students to Malaysia. And he said to them, when you settle among the people, don't speak to them about Allah and His Messenger. They said, Sayyidi, but isn't that what you've taught us? He said, when you reside among the people, first win their trust with your scrupulous financial dealings. This is what people want. They want to know whether you give them. This is what Islam is. Islam is safety, security, peace. They feel their property is safe in your hands. Their investment is safe in your hands. Their house is safe in your hands. Yes? That when you're weighing on the scales, yes, the goods they're buying are safe in your hands from being cheated and you being deceived. So he said, first win their trust with your scrupulous financial dealings, and win their hearts, give them good character, sublime character, to win their love. Then when you, and this is the natural result, because we tend to rush, and I can obviously sense from the urgency of your questions, also an urgency for a result. But that isn't how it happens, how it works. It may be that a person is suffering from many medical conditions and they're desperate for shifa, complete shifa. But what doctor comes and gives you medicine for the condition in your eye and throat and arm and skin and stomach all in one go? Too many medications will kill you. And we cannot withstand this. As communities and societies, we cannot take on too much in one go. It will break our backs. So we have to have the stamina to see this through, to give people good character and to give people to win their trust through excellent financial dealings. So he said, when you have earned their trust and when you have earned their love, they will naturally ask you, where did you get this character from? This is the natural result. If you feed people good food all day, every day you give people good food, right? You don't need to tell them where you have bought it from, who the grocer is, where the farm is located, who the farmer is, who reared the livestock. They need to eat and benefit. And some of them will eventually say, hey, how do you make this food? This is so amazing. Where are you getting it from? Then you give it to them. Now they will benefit from that knowledge. But if you started with telling them that, you are overloading them with information, but you're leaving them starving. This is what we do. We overload people with talk of peace, but we are leaving them starved of peace. So, yes, there are malicious actors. Nobody is denying that. There are malicious actors. There is a strategy to deal with the malicious actor, to essentially how one can win their heart. This is a different matter, but the people who are listening, one must know that they are victims. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he identified in Mecca the malicious actors. And he identified that the majority just simply didn't know better. That's why he stood on the mountain of Uhud and he said, Allahumma ghfir li qawmi fa innahum la ya'lamun. Oh Allah, and the Sahaba thought that he was going to make dua now against Quraysh. Some looked forward to it, and others worried because they're still their family. And so the Rasul, when he raised his hand, he said, oh Allah, forgive my people. The people who just broke his teeth, and his jaw, and made him bleed, and he could barely stand, and he stood unassisted. And he said, oh Allah, forgive my people, for they do not know. Now the Prophet, peace be upon him, he's not talking like out of exaggeration. Be careful that you think this is an exaggeration from him. Only truth comes from his mouth. So when he said they don't know, it means they don't know. So they are not malicious actors, not all of them. That's why they all en masse became Muslim. When they saw that he gave them a dose of peace that no one ever had experienced in the past. اذهبوا فأنتم الطلقاء. Go, you're all free. When he entered Mecca. So this answers the first part of your question, which is, what do you do with these people? What do you do? Make sure that you know not everyone is lumped into one bucket, into one category. This is very unfair. Then as to the third question, I don't know what verse you're referring to in the Quran. There is no verse that mentions the Middle East. I don't know if you can quote the verse.
I will not be able to read the verse, but sometimes we hear that people say that the age-long crisis in Israel and Palestine, particularly the Middle East, that area, part of the world, will never, and using that word, we hear it very often, and it seems like it's coming to pass.
So Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, He mentioned that number one, we will, as human beings, we will always be in difference with each other. وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ. They will continue to differ among one another. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ, except those whom Allah has bestowed His mercy on, that when two people, they are aligned in vision, aligned in strategy, and they are aligned in purpose to reach the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not from their own will, their own intelligence. It's from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? But people will differ, and people will, when they differ, that obviously the how does differing climax that we fight one another. Yes? So this is not enforced by Allah, it is simply in Allah's knowledge. People will always do that, so He mentioned it. As for the Middle East or any other region, this rule or this reality is not restricted to one place to the exclusion of another. Yes? There are regions that experience and enjoy peace for many years, and that they will go through periods of turbulence and uncertainty and war. There are regions that experience prosperity for years, and then they'll experience poverty, famine, etc. So, dawamul hali min al-muhal, that the state cannot remain the same. Nation states do not remain the same. Okay, they change over time. Most importantly, because what the brother has asked over here, the most important thing is how you react to the situation, be it here at home or in your neighboring countries or in the Middle East, wherever it may be. How do I react? I should react with justice. Because what is overreacting? Overreacting is that you rush. It's that this is how extremism is born. Extremism is born when somebody has something they believe is right, but doesn't accept the freedom of will of others. So he wishes to force it on them, to rush the result. This is extremism. That's how terrorism is born, by the way.